Hello, Contrarians, listeners and watchers from all over the world. Here we are with a very special Contrarians warm up. This one is for a movie that's more in line with things we do on our Patreon channel, but it's this genre of film is making the crossover into the main feed. We're talking about the Tollywood movie Vikram, that is an Indian action thriller. Like I said, we've covered a few of those. Some were Tollywood, some were Bollywood. I don't know. I feel like we've gone all over
In the episode, we
country.
kind of break down we learn in real time a lot of the
100 different kinds of Indian
regional
movies.
breakdowns of
Yes.
Indian cinema.
But this would be, I think we did the count, and this is our 10th or 11th movie that we've watched. So, all this to say, we've had some experience, but this is the first time that we've done a full episode on one of these movies. For those of you who are not familiar with this type of cinema, you might be. It's RRR got nominated for an Oscar, got a bunch of awards last year, and suddenly it was a little more mainstream than before. But anyway, we have a patron that loves Indian movies, always keeps making us watch more, and he brought this Vikram, the 2022 spy thriller. So it is rotten on the Tomatometer, but it's also not a whole lot of reviews there. So for this first part, for the quotes, we've gone to the tried and true Letterboxd. And Alex, it is, I invite you and everybody that's watching, to next time that you want to just be immersed in adoration for anything, go to Letterboxd and do a search for Vikram reviews. Because
and read
it
my
is,
review of Halloween Ends.
well, this doesn't compare.
Real quick, 56% is the official Tomatometer score. Wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
So it's not like in the doldrums, but it does have a 95% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is reflective of kind of what you're talking about on its Letterboxd listing.
So I figure for this part of the warm up, when we usually do the quotes, for a rotten movie, we would usually do rotten quotes. But it's honestly, I just wanted to share with the world
the love
that there's for this movie. So we're going to start with Sydney, who gave Vikram 5 stars, 1 heart, rewatched June 9th, 2022. Sydney says, completely understand some of the criticisms of this, but there is so much wild shit in here that I'm amazed they pulled off. I can't make myself critique it. Even better the second time somehow. Can't believe the way 3 hours completely fly by without any tone shifting, masala moments, or songs. Not that I don't love those things. How is it possible to craft a thriller this tight that lasts so long? I don't know. I'm just really emotional about this. All my time watching and studying Indian film has been its own reward, but this was like a gift from the people who helped me make it through the last 2 years specifically. Like, how did Lokesh know how badly I needed to see Kamal chain up BJs like a dog? My heart is just so full.
Jesus.
No, this is not Brandon Curtis. The patron
sounded in line.
Yeah, but the patron that requested this, we'll get to his Letterboxd review at the very end, because I think it's very fitting. But that's exactly what I meant by enthusiasm for a movie, and most of them are on this level. Like some people that connected to this movie very deeply, such as another 5 stars from PRTK. He says, "Name a better movie than this." You can't. Why? Because it's the best movie ever. This is cinema. This is the glory of cinema.
Man, straight to the point and very hyperbolic. That's the type of thing that makes me go, "Whoa, buddy!"
Maybe I should rewatch it. Let me clear out 3 more hours on my calendar. I wonder what the man who determines what is cinema and what isn't. Martin Scorsese. What do you think? Do you think Marty would roll with this type of movie, or is it a little too much?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that'd be interesting because it does have aspects of like the kind of it's part of a universe, so he may take umbrage with that to begin with.
Yes.
I don't know. That's a good question.
He is well known for appreciating international cinema and just being a proponent of people just expanding their horizons. So on that sense, I think that he would give Vikram a shot.
He did some I know some of like the Criterions and stuff have been through his like financing of like getting the movie. I don't know how to explain that, but I know like he's responsible for a good chunk of like foreign movies getting like play in America and like distribution.
Yeah, the Vikram Criterion. When
I like reading subtitles. What can I say?
Okay, here's another one from K8. Maybe it's just Kate. Watched June 2nd, 2022. No score, just a heart. It says, made me feel like a kid again. A little incoherent and self-serious. I can't say I like Kamal's big monologue at all. I'm sorry. But the vast majority of this is some of the most brutal ownage you'll see in a theater this year, delivered to us by masters of the craft. Gotta admire Kanagaraj stones in bringing together mythology from multiple movies and actors' personas, shooting it with wonderfully mobile and forward-thinking digital imagery that would make man blush, man with two N's, like Michael Mann,
Oh,
and committing to the heightened emotion and violent catharsis we expect from mass all at once. I told you all, if no one got me, I know South India got me. Bring on the sequel. Michael Mann suddenly brought into the conversation.
just catches a stray.
Um, well, he is. I know he did that movie. Is it Public Enemies? The one with Johnny Depp and is it Bale?
Yes, Christian Bale and
Is it
Russell
Marion
Hammond's in
Cotillard?
that. Billy Crudup and mixed martial arts legend Don Fry is also in that movie. He has like a part. He's like one of the
He
guys
throws a
that like.
punch.
I don't know if he does that, but his mustache, his iconic mustache, is very much on display. Doesn't Billy Crudup play J. Edgar Hoover in that?
No, you're thinking. Actually, maybe I don't know. He's in that De Niro movie, The Good Shepherd, which is about the creation, I think, of the FBI or the CIA. And I know Crudup is in it too as some sort of shadowy stooge. I don't know. But the point is that movie was shot in digital back when they were still figuring it out, and I remember liking it, but I also remember the backlash. People say they look like shit. I'm like, Michael Mann should be embarrassed of how this looks, and so hence the comparison, I guess, because this person is saying that Kanagaraj, the director, he pulled it off when Michael Mann couldn't. But to be fair to Michael Mann, I mean, this is at least a decade later. I mean,
Also a long movie. I remember it was like 2.5 hours. I've only seen it once is when I screened it, so I don't know. Wasn't expecting to talk about that tonight, I'll tell you that much.
well, there you go. Multiple influences in Vikram from Indian cinema and from Western cinema. Here we have Ashish, 5 stars, 1 heart. Watched June 4th, 2022. There is simply no fucking way that a nearly 3-hour long movie just kept on giving and giving and giving from the start to the literal last second. Need Lokesh's next movie right the fuck now. He sounds like you, Alex. Like you talking about Halloween.
Yeah. Sounds like me. That like if you caught me coming out of the theater after I saw Dark Knight Rises, that would sound like something I said.
Pavan Das, 5 stars. Watch June 3rd, 2022. This one's fun. It's just a list. Says,
Oh yeah.
The screenplay and pacing sucks ass. The core theme is nothing new compared to Lokesh's previous 2 movies. Emotional scenes never seem to connect, especially the long ass monologues during the final act. The supposedly big reveal during the mid portions is the most cliche thing ever. The CGI is choppy. It has the same oversaturated lighting and color grading that almost all Tamil films have nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, you'll have no choice but to scream your lungs out with the crowd when Kamal Hassan walks in slow-mo with Anirudh's score blasting in the background. In the end, that's all you'll most probably want this movie to be, and that's all that it tries to be. And to me, despite all its flaws, that's poetic cinema. 5 stars.
That's fair. There's plenty of reviews or just like takes you and I have both had on movies that are very similar to that of like, here's everything that's wrong with it, just so you know I know it's wrong with it, but I still enjoy it. I don't agree with that, but that's a do what?
I know everything that's wrong with it. I don't care.
Yeah, I may not agree with that, but it's a truthful review.
I mean, he hit a couple of things that are pet peeves of yours, specifically the CGI. And I know you kind of call it out in the episode, but is it a specific sequence that stands out, or are you talking about the CGI in general? Because there's a lot of like shootouts and a lot of slow.
There's a couple, like any of the big explosions to me just looked like shit. And again, should always preface this, it's better than something I could do right now on my computer, but based on the standard that's been set by most movies, like when they blow up the house where the bad guy's like storing his whole family of his 29 cousins or whatever, and then the explosion at the end, the like Thor Hulk fight scene where he punches him and he goes flying across the room. It looks like claymation almost. So yeah.
But I think that's at the same time, that's kind of what the audience that comes to watch this movie, they're like, that's what they want.
Oh, they don't give a shit about that. Yeah.
But I mean, they actually, it would look weird if it looked a little more realistic or a little more.
They would figure out that, for a moment they would believe it's like real footage. They would freak out and be like, "Oh my god,
what happened to him? Is he okay?" Speaking, because we just brought him up earlier, Scorsese, the opening explosion in Casino looks like shit, and that's one of your favorite movies.
I'd have to.
De Niro blowing
I'm not
up.
going to commit to that take right now.
All right, well, all of you out there,
the main thing I remember, Bob's like his sleeve catches on fire, and he's like, "What the fuck?"
That's at the end. I think that's what you.
It's when it comes back to the explosion. Yeah.
But the explosion at the beginning. I mean, let's compare it. That one and the toilet explosion in Vikram. Let's see which one looks faker. Which one's the fakest? We were going to close with, as promised, Brandon Curtis, 5 stars. Watch June 4th, 2022. An absolute masterpiece. So full of all the excesses I enjoy that I could burst. 172 minutes of unimpeachable filmmaking and a safe space in cinemas to just be that glorious you that you are. Yes. A safe space to be you, Alex.
That's definitely a Brandon Curtis review right there.
That is. You might have noticed, I just did, that most of those reviews, maybe even all of them, mentioned the runtime as a positive, as a like, hell yeah. It's funny because usually when runtimes come up on our show, the long runtimes they're brought up as a negative.
Yeah,
but here it's just, again, it goes back to giving the audience.
People couldn't get enough, man.
Yeah, it's like, give it to me, 3 hours, and I wish I had more. So. Anyway, a lot of love for Vikram, despite what Rotten Tomatoes may have you believe. So, because it is rotten on the main show, we treat it as if it was fresh. So
wonderful.
We'll join the choir in Contrarians Corner. We'll be part of these voices. Now, Alex, before we go into the trivia part of this warm-up, of course, we have to do the Josh Gad Minute.
Oh, God. I didn't even consider that.
So, what are we doing here? Are we just basically creating this reality where Josh Gad is Indian, or are we transplanting him and he's playing an American in this movie?
I mean, you could do it. Yeah. Are there any Americans in this portrayed?
I don't think so.
This might have to be a situation where he's on a TV in the background, but you could commit to it and do like he's in a fictional movie that only exists in this universe, like in this movie. Remember that Office where there was that movie with Jack Black and Cloris Leachman that like Pam and Jim are watching with Andy? You know what I'm referencing?
No.
You don't remember that? That leads to some really funny bits, but and that's like a 30 Rock staple. Is cameos will be actors in like shows or movies that are fictionalized and exist only in the 30 Rock universe. I think Parks and Rec did a little bit of that too. So honestly, to avoid any type of jarring, because this movie was made in 2022, it's not like the old ones that we've gone back and done them and like, oh, well, Josh Gad can do this and it won't be too distracting. If he just like showed up randomly in this, I think it would be like,
it's Olaf.
What the fuck? Yeah, it's Olaf. Or even worse, it would just like fall on deaf ears for that audience. They'd be like, who's Whitey up there? They don't know.
Why? So, who's that guy? Why do I care?
So I vote that we create a fictional movie that is on in the background of some scene, like maybe with the drug manufacturing center that the bad guy runs.
Mm-hmm. They have a TV just on at all times.
But you can't just have one person in that. So we need to think of like another person that would stand out, maybe like a female.
Cloris Leachman.
For some reason, Elizabeth Moss comes to mind. Like, just have them like in a movie.
Why not?
Call it like.
It's an upgrade from dating Jonah Hill to dating Josh Gad. I'm assuming already that they're dating in this movie. Maybe they're not.
That's what it should be. It's actually just like a shot-for-shot remake of Get Him to the Greek, but it's Josh Gad instead of Jonah Hill. And
okay, but Russell Brand, obviously, even if he hadn't been canceled, you would just replace him with some sort of Indian musician.
Yes. Yeah, that's what you do. Obviously, that's not a medium I'm overly familiar with, so I can't like name names off the top of my head, but that's what you do.
Yeah.
And again, this is all for like a at most 20-second shot. So we just have them film like one scene that's from that, and it's Josh Gad, Elizabeth Moss, and then a really popular pop star from India that's playing the Aldous Snow part.
There you go. I was dubious. I was going to say, Alex, why would we just have him do one of the voices for the English dub? But now I like this idea better. So
Well,
there you go, Josh Gad. You'll be shooting for like a day.
Yeah.
So,
And
all
you
right.
can go and do it in India, so tax write-off.
There you go. You can visit, do a little bit of tourism there. All right, Alex, let's go to trivia.
Nothing too crazy, but this came out the same week as Top Gun Maverick, and both of like the originals for those were released in 1986. And so that's kind of a fun little tidbit. In both movies, the lead actors play military personals. Also, the previous films of the two lead actors were released in 2018. Tom Cruise had Mission Impossible Fallout, and Kamal Hassan had Vishwaropam. Both movies are sequels, and in both films, the actors play spies. So,
I guess
is this
I
in Top Gun?
I mistakenly compared this guy, Kamal Hassan, to Charles Bronson in the episode. But maybe I should have compared him to Tom Cruise. Maybe he is the Indian version of Tom Cruise.
I mean,
He can fight.
based off this one fact, it seems that way. He's probably 3 feet taller than Tom Cruise, I'll tell you that. Most of the guns and tankers which were used in the movie are owned by Kamal Hassan, and he has licenses for all of them. So,
Beware.
yes, that's like David Koresh shit, the amount of weaponry this guy owns. Terrifying. Kamal Hassan gifted a car to Lokesh Kanagaraj due to the film of Vikram. The movie had a budget of 120 crore, which translates roughly to about 15 million, and a box office return of 435 crore, which is 55 million. So definitely raked in some cash.
All those people, all those reviews I read, those were people that went to see it in theaters.
God. Just trapped in a movie theater for 3 hours watching this
I mean,
oddly paced film.
Top Gun Maverick didn't save the industry by itself.
There you go. So, due to the trivia for this not being abundantly plentiful, it's not like Apocalypse Now where books have been written on shit that happened in this. I did find a review from Variety from the time of release, October 10th, 2022. And it kind of makes some tie-ins and domesticates it for, myself and Julio and potentially any of y'all listening that aren't familiar with this and kind of want an idea of what the parallels could be made to American cinema. This is by Peter de Bruges. And again, this is October 10th, 2022. Vikram review. A Tamil action legend returns to take down a drug dealer in thrilling Hollywood hit. If Hollywood can justify making sequels to Rambo and Top Gun more than 3 decades on, why can't Hollywood do the same? In Tons of Fun, Vikram, a secret agent first introduced in 1986, emerges from deep undercover to thwart the biggest drug deal in Indian history. He's a grandfather now, but that doesn't stop the title character, Kamal Hassan, from tossing people across the room in this turbocharged 3-hour action bonanza, which pairs Vikram with his younger operative named Amar, Fahad Fasil. The two have at least one thing in common. Rules and regulations don't matter, which means they're free to fight crime as creatively as they and director Lokesh Kanagaraj see fit. Taking a page from James Cameron's True Lies with its go big or go home approach to set pieces, Kanagaraj has pulled off a memorably over-the-top blockbuster and the year's top-grossing Tamil language hit, at this time 53.7 million and counting. There's at least one trick the Helmer has learned from Hollywood, although the entire project can feel like an epic parody of studio hyperbole at times, and that's that the strategy of connecting the film to past and future projects, so far just 2019's Karti, which comes up a lot in the episode, through overlapping plot lines and characters, and call it the Lokesh Cinematic Universe. In a way, that's how repurposing the name Vikram functions too, tying this new movie to one of its star's earlier hits without worrying too much about how they relate. Beyond dozens of winking in jokes, the two movies have little in common as Kanagaraj brings the character into the 21st century, Cue one of the catchiest tunes you'll ever hear. Composer Anirudh Ravichander, his amped up redo of this. We come across this in the episode, and we try our best with some of these pronunciations. But Iliyar Arja, the 1986 theme for the original Vikram. So it's a remix or like a juiced up one.
That's the theme, right? That's the one that you sing throughout the episode.
Vikram.
Yeah.
Which plays over a backlit battle royal designed to evoke earlier films' iconically styled title sequence. Although Kanagaraj leans heavily on music to power the action, mostly intense electric guitar riffs, a lot of and drum and bass blasts. He features just one traditional number. Near the onset, an open-shirted Hassan leads a crowd of drifters through a series of dad-like dance moves around a rundown train yard.
Love
a beat
it.
later, yeah. And we call that out in the episode too. It just has the one musical number, and it's at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
A beat later, the same character is being executed on camera by a squad of masked terrorists, a shocking crime that leads police chief Jose to put loose cannon Amar on the case. Amar is due to be married in a few days, and he has sworn his fiancée never to question him about his job, which involves everything from torturing suspects to questioning prostitutes. It will take the movie the next hour and a half to reveal what everyone in the audience assumes is going on. The Hassan character, a consistently inebriated bordello-frequenting buffoon who calls himself Karnan, wasn't actually murdered.
I mean, we didn't know.
We were shocked. We're like, the dude on the poster got killed in the opening scene. What the fuck? Nor was he the deadbeat his family and servants had been led to believe. He is, in fact, Vikram, leader of the Black Squad spy team. Elite government agents betrayed and left for dead by their double-crossing superiors. The real mystery, which the movie enjoys teasing, is whether this seemingly contradictory fellow is a hero or a villain. The question eventually answered by a long anti-drug speech in the sight of Hassan blasting everyone away with a vintage Browning machine gun. Kanagaraj likes his characters complicated, which makes the otherwise cartoonish film considerably more interesting. Also, welcome is the way Vikram isn't fazed by American body ideals. The film's Pablo Escobar-like drug lord, Sandhaman, is a massive ox of a man. I do call this out. It's kind of endearing. He's got like a beer gut. And
gold tooth?
He does, but... Huh?
His gold tooth?
Well, yeah, but like, he's like a kind of fat dude, but still... is pretty flossy. He doesn't care about the fact that, like, when he tucks his shirt in, his belly over, he's got Dunlap disease. And apart from the ankle-cutting little person who leads his crew, Facile is frequently the shortest person on screen. Like a Jack Russell Terrier, however, Amar compensates for his stature with sheer ferocity, intimidating everyone he crosses. Hassan is no bodybuilder either, but fights hard, throwing his paunch into every punch. A 2-ton shipment of experimental raw substance, 1 gram of which makes a kilo of cocaine, has gone missing, and Sandhaman wants it back. Could it be the masked terrorist? Doubtful, since he operates so far above the law he doesn't need a disguise to kill with impunity. Sandhaman is slow and lumbering by nature, but keeps a blue crystal-like substance that gives him Popeye-like powers. I think I make the Popeye analogy in the episode. 1 bite and he goes into berserker mode. Even Sandhaman answers to somebody, taking calls from someone named Rolex, finally revealed as Tamil star Surya in the last scene. The movie bulges at the seams with subplots and characters, though Kanagaraj makes it easy and entertaining to follow the twists, and some of the action scenes are better conceived and choreographed than what Hollywood is producing these days. A wedding banquet turned bloodbath is the high point of the first half, while Amar's own ceremony, which he misses while on duty, feels like a missed opportunity. Just when you think the movie has no use for its female characters, along comes Agent Tina, Julio's favorite,
shout her out,
in the second half to steal the show, upstaging even Vikram. Best known for his comic chops, Hassan has fun with the role as the adoptive grandfather of an adorable baby with a sensitivity to loud noises. He goes out of his way to keep things quiet when the carnage comes within earshot of the infant. Later, he risks his life to boil formula for the crying infant while Sandhaman's goons storm his house. Goons is a very underrated word. There was at WrestleMania this year, I think Michael Cole called 2 wrestlers goons, and it made me laugh really hard. Kanagaraj goes too far when it comes to endangering the hero's wives and children, to the point that the film's manipulative climax involves desperately trying to resuscitate the baby during the big boss battle. that's Big Boss. I swear to God, I didn't read this before we did the episode, but I talk about Metal Gear Solid in the episode as well. So me and Peter here are on the same page. The excess is half of the fun in such films, and Vikram consistently goes big without overdoing it. Kanagaraj's strategy: leave them wanting more and let his Lokesh Cinematic Universe carry on when the time is right. I don't think Julio and I were left wanting any more, but I think that's a pretty positive review and encapsulates in some ways the reviews you read, Julio, some of the things we touch on in the episode, and then also, like I said, it does a pretty good job of, for like a more North American audience, domesticating it and like comparing it to some familiarizing with the source material of like, hey, it's kind of like this.
Yeah, I think it gives you an idea of what the shape of the story is. I don't know that it prepares you, because it couldn't, but what it's like to actually sit down and see how the story's told, which is really where I think whatever problems we had, like, that came with that.
Yeah.
That specific part of the execution. But like I said, I called it out at the beginning because I think that is like an easy point of reference today, and that is RRR. And it's like, if you watch all 3 hours of RRR and you thought that that was cool, then there's a good chance that Vikram might tickle the same sensibilities. So I would give it a shot that way. Also, I hate it. I said Tollywood at the beginning, and this is Collywood, right? With a K.
Yes.
And it was because in the episode I said, why is it Collywood when it's, this one is like, what's the language? Is it
Tamil.
Tamil? So it should be Tollywood. But
well, Tollywood is Telugu cinema.
Yeah. So anyway,
Telugu?
You know
Telugu?
what? I'm owning it, unless Cory edits it out. But whatever the case, it is Collywood, not Tollywood.
To be fair, we learned about it all in real time in the episode, so we're still in the process of learning.
Yes, we're trying. Damn it, we're trying.
Hey, we're trying to better ourselves.
Yeah. So anyway, this will not be the last Indian movie that we watch, because Brandon Curtis remains a patron and he continues our education. But this is the first one on the main feed, so check it out. Watch Vikram, listen to the episode. Like I said, we praise it nonstop in Contrarians Corner, and then we get real in real talk. Coming up next, enough of the international stuff. It's time to go back to America. It's time to tackle a movie from somebody who's as American as apple pie, and that is Mark Wahlberg.
I was about to say, you can't get more shockingly American than Mark Wahlberg.
Yes. So we're going to be doing Four Brothers, which is rotten. Not super rotten, but rotten enough that we can do it on the show. So be ready for that. Until then, well, thank you for checking this video. Thank you for checking the show, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Take care.